Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Urmila Swar. I'm Associate Professor, Pune College of Pharmacy in Pharmacology. Today I'll be talking about bioassays, now which we do at undergraduate and postgraduate level in pharmacology. This will include introduction, indications of bioassay, principles of bioassay, classification, advantage, disadvantage, and errors in bioassay. First, we must understand what is bioassay. So bioassay, where we want to estimate the relative potency of the test compound to that of the standard compound which is already known on a biological system. So here biological systems are living body, tissue, cell culture systems. So bioassays are quantitative biological assay used to estimate the potency of agent by observing their effect on living or animal or tissue cell culture system. Very important two things where I am highlighting these. This is estimation of potency of the compounds, and second is observing their responses. So this is very important that the molecule which we are estimating should have some biological response on the system. In this case, the system is the living body or tissue or cell. We understand that assays, they are used to find out the active principle in unit quantity of preparation. That means we want to understand how much is the active ingredient present in a formulation or in a compound. We know that assay can be of different types, such as analytical, example photometric chromatography. We also have different types of immunological assay, example radioimmunoassay and ELISA. And biological assay, where we are using a biological system, that is the tissue or the organ. So these are different methods. When we use biological tissue or organ or cells, then they are called as bioassay or biological assay. Otherwise, we know other assay by the name of physicochemical assay, immunological assay, etc. Why bioassay is performed? Bioassay is performed because of these reasons. Active principle is unknown. So we do not know the unknown molecule, how it is going to act. So we don't know much of information about the active molecule. So that's why we want to understand on the basis of its response. Active principle cannot be isolated. So in this case, for example, insulin, so it cannot be isolated or it will be present in a minute quantity. So difficult for them to isolate and identify. So in that case, we go for bioassays to study biological response of new drug. So in this case, it is a new molecule and we want to understand its biological response. So we start with bioassays to ensure its purity and potency that we have already said. Sometimes the chemical assay is not available. They are complex, they are insensitive at the doses, at low doses, and therefore we want to go for bioassay. So in bioassay, it is possible that in microgram quantity also the responses can be obtained and then they can be identified, standardized. To estimate concentration of endogenous mediators, inside body mediators which are there can be identified using bioassay. What is the purpose of doing bioassay? To ascertain potency of a drug, provide quantitative estimation. So this is very important, as I said earlier, to find out the potency of the molecule. And also, we are doing, this is not a qualitative but a quantitative type of method where we are actually identifying the concentration of the molecule or the drug. To standardize the preparation so that it contains uniform specified pharmacological activity. So this is the second purpose. We have to standardize, and for example, in case of enzyme formulations or enzymatic compound, so here the activity, the concentration is identified in the form of its pharmacological property or pharmacological activity. So this is the purpose. Now, can pregnancy detection kit be called as bioassay? So in this case, we will say recently the kits which are available cannot be called, they cannot be called as bioassay because we require biological tissue to identify the concentration of the molecule. So pregnancy kits which are right now used are not bioassays. Whereas in the conventional method of estimating the pregnancy was by injecting the blood or urine of pregnant women to rat or they were injected into the rabbits, and their estrous cycle were studied. And whenever there was conification, then it was considered as, or there was bulging of uterus of the animal, then it was considered as that female is pregnant. So that is the conventional assay long back used. Yes, in that case, that was a bioassay. Now, principles of bioassay: to compare potency of unknown substance with that of standard. So in this case, we want to understand the potency of unknown substance. So we have a test sample which will be denoted as test sample, and we are comparing this test sample with that of the standard. So standard and test sample should have similar pharmacological activity. So that is very, very important, because unless they will have similar pharmacological activity, we won't be able to compare them, and we won't be able to identify the concentration of unknown test sample. The test and standard should be compared using a specified pharmacological technique. So in this case, like we will see that various biases are used, and so the first of all, they should have similar pharmacological activity, and they should be estimated using a specified pharmacological technique. Either it can be in vivo or it can be isolated tissue. So should be compared using a specified pharmacological technique. Now, method selected should be sensitive, reproducible, and should minimize error. This is very important, because unless and until the method is sensitive and it is reproducible, we cannot depend on that method, and we cannot trust the method and the results which we have obtained. Similarly, there should be minimum errors. So this is very, very important. Otherwise, the effect will be because of the effect seen will be because of some type of error. Biopsy can be performed on in vivo animals, that is intact animals, or in vitro. For example, some cells, organism, isolated tissue can be called as ex vivo. In this case, I have mentioned it as in vitro, but it is ex vivo because tissues are isolated and they're outside the body. So they will be considered as ex vivo. So these are different organs and animals which can be used for bioassays. Now, examples are human chorionic gonadotropin, rabbits are used, cardiac glycoside guinea pigs are used, insulin mice. In this case, insulin produces convulsions in mice, so that is a response which is seen for insulin. Estrogens, overectomized female rats are used. Here we can see that estrogen produces conification of uterus. Microorganisms such as vitamin B12, Euglena, gracilis is used. Tetracycline, Bacillus stimulus is used. So in this case, vitamin B12 require Euglena, and Euglena require vitamin B12 for its growth, and Bacillus stimulus growth is inhibited by tetracycline. Then tissues such as acetylcholine is used for frog rectus abdominis muscle, because it is a skeletal muscle. Then that's why we use acetylcholine here. Histamine, where we use guinea pig ileum. So guinea pig ileum is sensitive for histamine. Rat uterus, where we can use do the biopsy for adrenaline. Rat uterus and estrogen primed uterus, that means estrogen pre-treated uterus, is also used for estimation of oxytocin. Oxytocin produces contraction of the uterus. Other than that, and that cells, dispersed cells, where we can identify we can perform the bioassay of testosterone, so plasma and plasma LS hormone by stimulation of testosterone synthesis on isolated Leydig cells. So these are different organ system and animals which can be used for bioassays. Now, types of bioassays. If we see the types of bioassay, there are two types, quantal and graded. So this is basic classification of bioassays, quantal and graded. So as the name suggests, so quantal is all or none type of bioassay. The effect will be there or effect will not be there. Whereas graded is where as you increase the concentration of the drug, a response increases. So that is a graded type. In quantal, we have a direct endpoint assay and LD50 determination. So direct endpoint assay and LD50 determination will be same. And LD50 is no more used, but it's being a conventional method I have put here. In graded, we have matching point, bracketing point, interpolation, and multiple point of bioassays. Quantal type bioassay. In this case, we can see it's a direct endpoint assay. Again, I have taken example here, a conventional example where the effect of drug has studied on cat, and so it is digitalis, and the cat was anesthetized, the BP was recorded, and standard drug or test drug is infused slowly till the point where the blood pressure drops and heart stops. So animal is dead. So that point we have to stop the experiment and the concentration of drug infused is noted. So this is example of direct endpoint assay. So what calculation it has? The calculation is two dose will be able to get. One is the threshold dose of standard and threshold dose of test. That means the dose in ml which was able to stop the heart. It is, we know this for standard as well as we know this for test, and we know the concentration of standard. So by a simple cross multiplication phenomena, we can find out the concentration of test is equal to threshold dose of standard divided by threshold dose of test into concentration of standard. So this will give you the concentration of test. Now this is very important, as we have discussed previously, that the two drugs should have similar type of response and they should act on single type of pharmacological system. So here we are saying that they both are affecting heart, and as we keep on increasing the dose, the heartbeat has dropped down. So this is how. So there should be similarity between the unknown sample as well as the standard drug. That is how we have to choose the standard. So this is how we can find out the concentration of the unknown. So using similar methods, so this is an example of bioassay of digitalis in cats, which is conventional method not used nowadays, and other method like for insulin, hypoglycemic conversions in mice. So this is some examples of direct endpoint assay. The next is LD50 estimation. This is again a conventional because right now OECD guideline allow us to use the to find out the safety concentration of the drug. So LD50, I will not go much in detail, but it just tells about the concentration, the lethal dose concentration at which 50% of the animal dies. So this is how the LD50 of the drug can be found out. LD50 and therapeutic dose 50 helps us to find out therapeutic index of the drug, and therapeutic index of the drug is a very important pharmacodynamic parameter for each and every drug. Now going to the next bioassay. This is second class, which is called as graded bioassay. For performing graded type of bioassay, we require organ bath assembly, and you student must have seen this organ bath assembly in your pharmacological lab, and this comprises of an organ bath, an inner tissue. One is the outer bath, and inside is the inner tissue bath, and we can see that there is oxygen supplied by oxygen tube, and there is a temperature maintenance in the outer bath using thermometer, and tissue can be attached to the oxygen tube, and this tissue can be tied to liver. So liver has to be balanced, and there is a recording drum which records the responses of the drug when the standard or the test drug is injected into the inner tissue bath. If I want to talk about the simple procedure, so we must do checking of apparatus for proper functioning, prepare physiological salt solution as per the requirement. There are different types of physiological solutions. So as per the organ which we are using, and we can prepare the physiological salt solution. So there are Ringer solution, Krebs solution, Bizalon solution, etc. Arrange the instrument and adjust the water bath. Prepare the solution. So here we have to prepare the test drug solution. We have to prepare the standard drug solution. We know that standard drug will be used in a graded concentration. So we have to make similar dilutions. We also have to make PSS, that is physiological salt solution. And this has to be filled in organ bath till a constant height. So PSS has to be filled in organ bath where we are going to tie the tissue, and to a constant height. The height should be constant, because otherwise it will affect the dilution of our test and standard drug. Now next is isolate the tissue. So different type of tissues can be used, as we have already discussed. Frog rectus abdominis muscle used for estimation of acetylcholine, and other tissues such as guinea pig ileums are used, then rat ileums are used, then guinea pig right now, because of CPCSCA not allowing these animal to be used at the undergraduate level, we are also using goat trachea and chicken ileum. So this here also we can use estimation, we can do estimation of acetylcholine or similar type of drugs, or histamine or similar type of uh, drugs. So uh, these tissue also can be used. The next is attach the tissue, relax it, and take DRC and select the assay method to perform. So these are the minimum required to perform the bioassay in pharmacological lab, and it is not very difficult. Practice can help you to do it in a better way. Next is matching point bioassay. So the first one is, this is the first one, matching point bioassay, and we can see that in this case, first thing which we have to do is take a DRC of acetylcholine. Right now we are using this, the graph is shown for using the frog rectus abdominis muscle, and here we can see that a DRC has to be taken. So we are taking the DRC using the standard acetylcholine solution, and here the concentration is given in 2 microgram, 4 microgram, 8 microgram likewise. So the standard drug can be prepared, for example, in a dose of 10 microgram per ml concentration solution, and similarly we can administer where it will be equivalent to 2 microgram, 4 microgram, 8, 16, and 32 microgram, 64 microgram. So we see that at 64 microgram, a sealing effect is produced. So we should not go beyond it, and we should stop here, taking for the standard drug solution. And we have to select the two dose. Here we can see it is S1, which is 4 microgram, and S2, which is 16 microgram. And these two doses is selected on the basis of that the sealing effect produces 100% of response. So once you get this response, it has to be converted into height in centimeter, and the maximum response would be considered as 100%. And similarly, the for other concentration, the response will be derived. So in this case, we find that S1 is 20%, S2 is 70%. So in this ratio, we can select S1, S2, and similarly, we have to take and how the test drug, the response which is taken for the test drug should lie between S1 and S2. That is the second condition. So we see that the test drug response on the other side of the graph, part B, we see that the test is showing certain response. So in this case, matching point bioassay means a constant dose of standard is matched by varying dose of test until the response of standard matches the test. So we have right now two standard, S1 and S2. So either we can select S1 or we can select S2. In case if we have selected S1, you have to reduce the dose of T so that it matches S1. But now in this experiment, we are increasing the dose of test so that it matches S2. So test 1 ml, 1.1 ml, 1.2 ml, 1.3 ml. We see that 1.3 ml of test matches S2. So S2 response calculation can be done. S2 response is equal to the T response at 1.3 ml. So we understand that the higher dose of standard, the response which we have obtained for S2 is equivalent to the response which we have obtained for the test at 1.3 ml. So these two are equivalent. So we can say that, as in the previous slide, you can see S2 is actually 16 microgram of standard. So 16 microgram is equivalent to 1.3 ml of test, and by doing the further calculation, we can identify that 1 ml of test is equal to 16 microgram divided by 1.3, which is equal to 12.30 microgram per ml. So this is how we can identify the concentration of test drug. That is, it is equal to 12.30 microgram per ml. Next is matching point bioassay. So advantages and disadvantages. So this is a trial and error method because we are varying the concentration of test so that it matches the standard. So it is a trial and error. It does not depend on dose response relationship, and therefore it is purely subjective, and experimental error cannot be determined, and there are differences between standard and test drug. So these are the matching point bioassay advantage and disadvantage. Next, going to bracketing type of bioassay. So in bracketing type of bioassay, a constant dose of test is bracketed under 2 dose of standard. In this case, one standard is less and other is higher, and dose of standard is varied and exact, so that an exact matching happens between standard dose responses and the particular dose of the test. So here we are taking 2 dose of standard, and our test dose is bracketed between the 2 dose of standard, and we are varying the concentration of standard so that there is exact matching taking place between standard and test drug. How it will be done? So this can be done by taking a DRC first. We have seen that we have taken the DRC of the standard, and then followed by the test. We select S1 and S2, and in between S1 and S2 we have to bracket test. So going next slide. So S1 and S2 we have selected. Here we have the readings 4 microgram, 16 microgram. Again 20% and 70%. And test we have selected, which is in between S1 and S2. So now test is in between. Now when we see this, we understand that test response is more than S1 while it is lesser than S2. So we have to increase the concentration of S1 and reduce the concentration of S2. So likewise, we have to take more readings of test and standard concentration response. So here we can see that when we have increased S1 to 10 microgram and we have reduced S2 to 10 microgram, the test is matching with that of the standard responses. So what we can say, S1 is equal to T is equal to S2, that is, it is 10 microgram. So the concentration of test is 10 microgram per 1 ml. Next is interpolation type of bioassay. So it is also called as graphical type of bioassay, and it completely depends upon dose response curve of the standard solution, standard drug solution, and we are also taking the effect of test, and then we are interplotting it on the graph. So in this method, dose response curve of standard are taken and height of contraction is measured. It is plotted against log dose. Then the response of test sample is taken and height of contraction is measured, and concentration is measured by interplotting the standard curve. So we can see that we have taken different concentration of the test drug 2 microgram, standard drug 2 microgram, 4 microgram, 8, 16, 32. So we have to take the effect till we get the ceiling effect. And so we find ceiling effect at 32 microgram because 64 and 32 is similar. And then we have to take the response of test. So if there will be certain response which will be produced by test. So concentration we do not know, but it is produced by 1 ml of the test. We have to plot a graph where on the x-axis we take dose, and the dose has been converted into log dose, while the response is in the centimeter, or we also can take the percent centimeter. Percent centimeter means the higher response, that is the ceiling effect which we are getting, is considered as 100% response. And similarly, the other concentration, for other concentration, the responses can be derived. So lower concentration will have the lower response. So we can also take percentage response, or we can also take response as such. So we will get a straight line because as the dose increases, the response increases. And then there is one response which we have taken for test. So for the test, we know the response, we know the height of the curve which we have obtained on the drum. So that response can be interpolated on the straight line, and it can be derived on x-axis and we will get certain reading. So the concentration of test is the log dose of 0.75. So we have to take anti-log of 0.75, which comes around 5.62 microgram per ml. So this is how we can derive the concentration of the unknown test sample. So advantage is it is less time consuming, more reliable method. It is based on dose response relationship. There are less chances of errors, and limitation is the response of the test must lie within 20 to 30% of the 20 to 80% of the response of the standard. If the response of the test is more than that of the standard, so the response will not lie on the line. Or if it is lesser than the standard, we will not be able to identify the concentration of the test drug. So thank you. Thanks a lot.